I'm looking right now at some facts about the Revolutionary War. My five-time governor of Virginia, Patrick Henry, he gave that famous speech March the 23rd of 1775. Give me liberty or give me death. And then you know about Paul Revere, about William Dawes, about George Washington being appointed the commander in chief. The Battle of Bunker Hill takes place June the 17th of 75, and the Navy is established in October that year, the American Navy being established. There's the Battle of Great Bridge, Virginia. There's the Battle of the Great Canebrake, South Carolina. There's the Battle of Quebec. There's the Battle of Moores Creek in 1776 in February. I'm just looking down through all these battles. The Battle of Sullivan's Island, South Carolina. The Battle of Brooklyn, New York. The Harlem Heights, New York battle. All these different battles. I'm just looking at the list of them. British taking over Philadelphia in 1777. The Battle of Germantown, Pennsylvania in October. All these battles. Do you know that George Washington, our commander in chief, was not at every one of those battles? We won the American Revolutionary War, but our commander in chief was not at every battle. It's impossible for a commander in chief to lead in every single battle. What's my point? This is my point. Are you listening? My point is it's local that gets the job done. It's local politics, local government, the local church, the local communities, local. And it takes local action to get things done all across our beloved country of America and all around the world. It's local communities, local neighborhoods, local families, local pastors, local congregations. I advise you to stop watching the national news all day long. I encourage you to stop that. I think we need to keep appraised of what's going on in the world, but I think there's far too much of keeping national news on round the clock at your house. I encourage you to stop that. I think instead, you ought to be concerned about what is going on in my local community. I'll just tell you, I can do very little to turn this entire country back to God. But I can do something to try to win my neighbors to Christ and to win my city to Christ and help my local church. I can do something there. I tithe and give offerings through my local church. I give little support to national ministries, but the vast majority of what I give is through my local church, my local assembly, with my local pastor. I'm glad I've got a local pastor, and everybody listening to this should either be a pastor or should have a pastor. And if you've got a pastor, you should be helping your local pastor and helping your local church. So what can you do in your local elections? Well, have you ever considered serving as a sworn election officer? You need to do a search on your computer and find out how you could be a sworn election officer. You get paid to do this, at least in the state of Virginia. And I signed up. Numbers of my friends have signed up. You can serve as a poll watcher in your local community. Yes, get involved with your local elections. I've heard so much about voter fraud, and no doubt some voter fraud has taken place. Both parties will acknowledge that, and both parties make comments on that. Voter fraud. Okay, no doubt there has been some cheating that has taken place in many elections throughout our history. But poll watchers, accountability helps people remain honest. Be a sworn election officer. Be a poll watcher. How about running for a local office? Running for the board of supervisors in your area. Instead of screaming at the national news every night, throwing plates at it every night, why don't you get involved? Why don't you get involved? Why don't you run for office? Run for a tiny office right there in your area. Let your little light shine. Go door to door for some local candidates. I have done that. Some of my Christian friends who have run for office, I have actually, on occasions, I've not done a lot of it, but I've done some of it. I'm afraid some of you that are watching this have never participated in your local elections beyond just voting. But look, we need to get some good candidates on the ballot, and then when we get somebody good on the ballot, we need to get involved. Give a little money. I've given to candidates that love the Lord, candidates who have worthy and noble aspirations. Yes, so donate. Go and pray with the local candidates on a regular basis. I have prayer with little elected officials and some big elected officials. By the grace of God, there's a number of governors and congressmen that I've been in their office. I've been in their presence and prayed with them, that I have been asked by them, "Dear Brother Fox, pray for me. Pray with me now. Here's my prayer request." That's something I can do in local elections and local government. Get involved now with your local church. Should Christians attend church? Yes. My pastor should not have to send the police out to find out where I am. I need to be in church. Now, if you're sick, don't go to church. I get that. I understand reasons for not being in church, but I'm a little tired of excuses of not being in the local church. Get involved in your local church. Help your local pastor. When did you last go out soul winning on purpose to try to win your town to Christ? You know, get you some Bible Tracts Incorporated. Contact them. I'll try to leave their link in the comments below. I'm very involved with them. Get you some tracts and give them out. Give through your local church. Pray. Work in your local church. Clean the building. Run a bus route. I'll tell you something. We need a lot more church bus routes these days. Absolutely. Getting boys and girls all across this country back to God. Do you know that 92% of government school children did not go to church one time last year? 92%. Let that sink in. Do you want to know how to destroy a country? Don't tell the children anything about God. Do that for a couple of generations and you'll find yourself right where we are in America. There's many children that know nothing about God. They don't know the most basic Bible stories. They don't know about Jonah and the whale. So get involved with the bus ministry. Help with Vacation Bible School. Oh, we've seen so many children saved through Vacation Bible School. Then why don't you sponsor a child to go to camp? The Edge Christian Camp in Virginia is a wonderful camp. I support it. I try to help it. Get involved with some children's homes. Pastor Tim Cruz down there in Monroe, North Carolina, has a wonderful children's home, The Shepherd's Place. You want to invest in something good? Why don't you send them a gift and help some children and try to reach some children for God? And there's many of these opportunities all across in local areas. And so I want you to concentrate what you can do in your own home. Yes, the local home. Your home needs to be a godly home. A home that fears the Lord. Only Jesus Christ can turn your house into a Christian home. Doesn't that sound great? Having a Christian home where Jesus Christ is exalted and praised, where God has his rightful place, which is first place. God should be first place in our home, but in our communities. We want to be good to our neighbors. We want to actually love one another. We want to help our local neighbors. Don't you want to help your neighbors? Don't you want to be a good neighbor? Don't you want to be a peacemaker and a helper in your own neighborhood? And then these local elections, get involved in the local elections. Yes, there are many bad politicians, but there are some good ones, and we thank the Lord for them. And these good politicians, they need our support. We need to commend them that do right. The Bible says so. My whole point in this little video is to get you to stop thinking about national news 24 hours a day and get thinking about your local community, your local home being a Christian home, your local neighbors being reached for Jesus Christ and being helped by you, your local elections being impacted with your influence, and your local church, your local pastor. That your local pastor needs to be on your daily prayer list. And you ought to, on a periodic basis, say to your pastor, thank you. Thank you, Pastor, for what you're doing to raise the level of righteousness in our community. God bless you, Pastor. What can I do to help you, Pastor? Why don't you give your pastor a gift this week? And then the Great Commission to take the gospel to the whole world? Yes. That starts, though, in your local community. Why don't you tell someone in your community this week about Jesus? Well, that's my thoughts that come to me at this moment about local. Friends, that's where it's at. Local. Get busy in your local area. May God bless.